Okay, good morning. Today we're going to finish up the rest of 10.7. Yesterday we started talking about these things called trig identities, trig expressions that are actually equal to each other. And we talked through how we have lots of them on our trig sheet, lots of things involving trig ratios that are equal to each other. And one of the types of problems we're going to ask you to do is simplify an expression like this one. So this one was from yesterday. If I gave you the sine of an angle times the cotangent of an angle times the secant of an angle, we could ask you to simplify, right? The problem with these types of examples is they're kind of open-ended. You're not exactly sure where you should go or how far you should go. As an example, what we did yesterday was we rewrote cotangent as the cosine of an angle divided by the sine of an angle using what was called a quotient identity on your trig sheet. And then we rewrote secant as 1 over the cosine using what's called a reciprocal identity, right? And at that point, then you're expected to remember that, hey, we have multiplication going on. And if we have the same thing top and bottom, we can cancel. So as an example here, the sine of alpha and the sine cancel. The cosine of alpha and the cosine cancel, so we're left with 1 divided by 1. So this would simplify down to just 1. Okay? But the typical problems that we do, the more advanced problems that we do in trig are going to be, instead of asking you to simplify, what we're going to ask you to do instead is verify. And what changes with a verifying problem is instead of being given a problem, and here's the next example, sine over cosecant plus cosine over secant, instead of just giving you that and saying simplify it, what we do instead with a verifying problem is we actually tell you what it's going to be equal to. And what we're going to challenge you to do is work one side of this equation until it looks exactly the same as the other side. And at that point, we would say that we have then verified that what we started with really was equal. All right, so the key is to verify that the left side and the right side of this expression really are equal to each other. So sine over cosecant plus cosine over secant, we're trying to verify that all of that really does just simply equal 1. Okay, so how do we go about it? Well, kind of the same process that we had yesterday with our simplifying problems. One option is to leave the sine alone, leave the cosine alone, and rewrite the cosecant and the secant with their reciprocal functions. So I hope you have your trig sheet out, and I'm going to challenge you to look down the left side till you find the reciprocal identities, and you'll find that cosecant is equal to 1 over sine, and secant is equal to 1 over cosine. All right? Feel free to pause the video if you need to look closer at your trig sheet. And then what we're going to do with each one of these, and I'm going to choose my highlighter tool here, I'm going to highlight this first one in red, is I'm going to ask you to think of the main fraction as being division, and we're going to turn division into multiplication, right? And do you remember how that goes? Keep, change, flip. So we keep the sign in the numerator as is. Instead of dividing, we turn this into multiplication, but we do that by using the reciprocal of the second fraction. So sine divided by 1 over sine becomes sine times sine over 1. Keep, change, flip. And exactly the same thing will happen in the second one. Think of the main fraction as being division, turn division into multiplication, so this will become cosine. Instead of divided by 1 over cosine, it becomes cosine over 1. Right? And now we can multiply two of the same thing together. Sine times sine could be written as sine squared. Cosine times cosine could be written as cosine squared. You know, shortcut to multiplying two of the same thing together, write it as one of them squared. And then if you look at your Pythagorean identities that we looked at really close yesterday, what's sine squared plus cosine squared equal to? Again, Pythagorean identities, what's it equal to? 1. And at that point, you can see that, hey, we've actually transformed one side of the equation until it looks exactly the same as the other one. Therefore, we've verified that the original equation really was true. Okay? So that's the most typical type of problem that we're going to be working with. The simplifying problems are fine, but it's the verifying problems that we spend most of our time with. Okay? So like usual, anytime we have one of these videos, make sure you pause the video anytime you need to make sure you know what you're up to. Okay, so another one. We're going to ask you to verify that the cosine of x times the cosecant of x times the tangent of x is really equal to 1. Okay, how can we prove, or how can we verify that? Well, we could leave the cosine alone. We could rewrite the cosecant using its reciprocal identity. The reciprocal of cosecant is 1 over sine. And we could rewrite tangent using its quotient identity. Tangent is equal to sine over cosine. And because we have multiplication going on everywhere, very similar to the problem we did from yesterday, the cosine cancels top and bottom, the sine cancels top and bottom, and the only thing we're left with is 1. And again, you can now see that we verified the left side and the right side are equal to each other. Okay, let's try one that's a little bit tougher. Again, feel free to pause anytime you want to. Okay, here's one that's a little harder. Cosecant squared times 1 minus sine squared. We're going to try to verify that that's equal to cotangent squared. Okay, we're going to work one side until it looks exactly the same as the other side. All right, using our identities down the left-hand side of our trig sheet. Okay, now off to the side here somewhere. One of our Pythagorean identities is that says that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. All right, so if we were to pick up the sine squared and move it to the other side of the equation, we'd move a positive thing to the other side by subtraction. We would then see that 1 minus sine squared is equal to cosine squared. So all I did was I picked up this positive sine squared on the left, moved it to the right-hand side by subtraction, and what you see is that the cosine squared is all by itself, and it's equal to 1 minus sine squared. Therefore, we can replace 1 minus sine squared with what it's equal to, which is cosine squared. Okay? Now, I haven't said this yet, but the nice thing about verifying problems is you know when you're done and you know when you need to keep on working. Right now, the left side does not look exactly the same as the right side, so I know I need to keep working. What else could I do? Well, in this case, I could leave the cosine squared alone, and I could rewrite cosecant using its reciprocal identity. So I could take the reciprocal of cosecants, and the reciprocal of cosecants turn into sines. So the reciprocal of cosecant squared is 1 over sine squared. And then if I think of cosine squared as being a fraction by putting it on top of 1, now if I multiply the numerators and I multiply the denominators, I'd have 1 times cosine squared in the numerator, sine squared times 1 in the denominator. And then finally, do you know what cosine squared over sine squared is equal to? Well, don't worry about the powers for 1 second. Do you know what cosine over sine is equal to? Well, if you look in your quotient identities, cosine over sine is equal to cotangent. And therefore, cosine squared over sine squared is equal to cotangent squared. And you can see now that we've transformed one side until it looks exactly the same as the other side. Again, therefore, we have verified the identity. We have verified the identity. Okay, let's try another one. Again, take your time, pause, try them on your own, that sort of thing. This one's just going to be done a slightly different way. So here we start with tangent squared plus 1, multiplied by cosine squared minus 1. and we're trying to verify that that's going to be equal to negative tangent squared. Okay, alrighty. So, pardon me. The idea on this one, we actually have two different ways to go about doing this one, and either way is going to work just fine. It's just kind of a preference as to how you go about it. We can either do this problem using FOIL, because we have a binomial multiplied by a binomial, so we could either use FOIL, or we could also use our Pythagorean identities. Okay, so I wish I was here in person so I could let you guys call it out which way you'd want to go, whether you'd want to use FOIL on this one or whether you'd want to use Pythagorean identities. Okay, since I'm doing fairly well on time, I could even do this one both ways. I could do it twice just to show you that both of them work, right? So, just for the heck of it, maybe I'll start by doing this one as a FOIL problem. So I'm going to start by FOILing the left sides. So what I'm going to do is multiply the firsts, so that's going to be tangent squared times cosine squared. I'm going to do the outsides, so tangent squared times negative 1. I'm going to do the insides, 1 plus cosine squared. Did I say plus? I meant to say 1 times cosine squared. And then finally the lasts, positive 1 times negative 1. Okay? Looks like a terrible mess. But this first term is going to simplify pretty nicely. If we replace tangent with its quotient identity, tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine. So therefore, tangent squared is equal to sine squared divided by cosine squared. Okay? And if I just choose to leave some of these other things alone for just a second, leave that one alone, leave that one alone, just leave a couple of these other things alone. Then, if you go back and let me choose a highlighter tool so you know exactly where I'm at. If you look at this first term, you have multiplication, and you have a cosine squared up top and a cosine squared down below, so therefore those two things will cancel. And all you're going to be left with then is sine squared. Okay, and believe it or not, we're almost done. Right? Can you see anything else we could do? Well, I have a sine squared right here, and I have a plus cosine squared right here, and if I put those two folks together, and you look at your Pythagorean identities, what is sine squared plus cosine squared always going to be equal to? 1. And so those two can be replaced with a 1, and then finally we have a positive 1 and a negative 1, so of course those just add up to 0, and so all we're left with then is negative tangent squared. And that's what we were supposed to show it was equal to. Okay? So again, a verifying problem is kind of nice because you always know when to stop when you're done because you've changed one side until it looks exactly the same as the other side. Okay? And I said maybe we could do that one twice. So if anybody's interested, I'll just do that a second time quick. And if you don't want to see the second version, feel free to skip ahead to the last problem. That's no sweat. But I'll just do this one quickly one more time, just for anyone who might be interested. Another option on this one was to use the Pythagorean identities. Okay? And I'll just make a little room off to the side. Our first Pythagorean identity was that sine squared plus cosine squared was equal to 1. And if I just take the sine squared and I take the 1 and I just flip-flop those two, I just flip those, I leave the cosine squared where it's at, but I move the 1 to the other side by subtraction, and I move the sine squared to the other side by subtraction, then cosine squared minus 1 can get replaced with negative sine squared. Everyone see that okay? And then we also have an identity that says the tangent squared plus 1 is equal to the secant squared. And you see that in the first set of parentheses, that's exactly what we have. We have tangent squared plus 1. So therefore, I can replace that immediately with secant squared. Okay? And then if I use my reciprocal identity, I leave this fella alone. But I use my reciprocal identity. The reciprocal of secant is cosine. So the reciprocal of secant squared is cosine squared. And now if I multiply these two folks together, remember, multiply the numerators, multiply denominators, 1 times negative sine squared, and cosine squared times 1, I get negative sine squared over cosine squared. Okay, so there's the negative that we need. And then what is sine over cosine equal to? Tangent. So therefore, when you adjust sine squared over cosine squared, it's going to be equal to tangent squared. And that's exactly what we were supposed to show it was equal to. Okay? And the last problem I'm going to do with you guys, for you guys, on this video is one of the following. I'm going to take, oops, hit the wrong button there. I'm going to take the sine of pi over 2 minus x and show, oops, sorry, missed one part, and multiply that by tangent, and then we're supposed to show that that's equal to the sine of x. Okay, so how do we go about this one? Again, work one side of the equation until it looks exactly the same as the other. That's what a verifying problem does. So what we're going to do to start with on this one is we're going to replace tangent with its quotient identity. And the quotient identity for tangent is sine divided by cosine. So again, look at the quotient identities. Tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine. Then you've got to look way down that left-hand column, way down towards the bottom, and the sine of pi over 2 minus x, even though this looks kind of crazy, the sine of pi over 2 minus x is right there on your trig sheet. I'm just digging out my trig sheet so I know exactly how far down to look. It's about 3/4 of the way down that page, and they're called cofunction identities. And the sine of pi over 2 minus x is equal to cosine of x. All right? And if you think of that as a fraction, and because we have multiplication, if you see the same thing top and bottom, cancel it out, and what we're just simply left with is sine of x. And of course, that's exactly what we're supposed to show is equal to, so we know we're done. Okay? Alrighty. So don't worry, these are hard, and we're going to work with these a lot when you come back in pre-calc in a couple of years. So we're just going to kind of get you an introduction this year, get you a little bit of a feel for it, and then we'll hit these a lot harder when you're in pre-calc. So hope you're having a good day, and we'll see you on Monday.